Have you seen a Star Wars movie?
Partially.
Okay.
Like a little bit. When my dad watched one like 20 years ago.
Okay, this is
Right?
funny. Okay, here's what I'll tell people. I took Cristine to the movie theater to see a Star Wars movie, and she has no memory of this.
Oh my god, I remember.
I think
we
that's
were in the parking lot after, like outside of Tim Hortons.
And you looked at me like what?
why?
What was like? I asked you a question if you liked the movie, and you looked at me like what? Like you had literally like not been there.
I feel so bad. I like didn't pay any attention. I'm sorry, my brain just can't watch.
So there are 9 main Star Wars movies, 9 of them.
Jesus.
But guess what? Number 4 came out first. Back in like 1972, I want to say.
How was it number 4?
Well, that's the thing. So there was the original trilogy, which is the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode.
No, 1, 2, 3.
So there's the original trilogy.
Wait, are the episodes based on books?
No, it's
So then
all
how do they
based
know
on
what
the
order?
stories of George Lucas. But I guess when he was making the
What is he,
original
like,
movies,
Jesus? Like, where do those stories come from?
his creative writing.
Writing that existed where prior to the movies?
No, he came up with the story.
So why would
what
he
are you
release
asking
number
me?
4, 5, and 6 as the first, second, and third?
So
That
it's
makes
not.
no
I don't
sense.
actually think he necessarily knew there were prequels to release at that time, because the first one is just called Star Wars: A New Hope when it came out. But by the time the 5th one came out, I think he already knew that was actually 5, and there were 3 movies to be made before it.
It's just
He
too
had a
confusing.
creative vision. So the prequel trilogy came out like 30 years later.
Okay, so when did this all start? Before I was born?
I think the first one came out in the early 70s.
That's before I was born.
Yeah, but these are some of the biggest movies in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And then the prequel
I've
trilogies came out while we were still, you know,
Babies.
we were, we were like probably in high school, like around 2000.
Were you like a Star Wars junkie fan? Did you have like Skywalker swords?
I can't say I'm like a super fan, but I
you
like
have a
Star
sword, Ben?
Wars. I did not have a lightsaber.
Not even for
Although that
Halloween?
would have been pretty cool. You know what? Maybe I did. I may have.
You seem like the type.
When the Phantom Menace came out, the first of the prequels, and there's Darth Maul, he has a double-sided lightsaber. It's a laser. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
You know
big
what a light-
sticks. The glow sticks.
Glow
I
sticks.
had glow sticks.
You had glow sticks too? Okay, and we're just going to ignore the fact that there's 3 more recent movies made by Disney. They gave George Lucas like $1 billion
Is that
to continue the story.
one of the ones we watched?
So that is the one we watched. We
And
watched
that's-
episode 7.
And that's when I made my nail art video that was the lightsaber nails. And I used a unicorn skin in the middle over top of an acrylic paint gradient. And it looked really cool.
It looked very cool. Yeah.
Except I remember making this nail art video and like trying to talk about Star Wars. And it's coming back to me. And I said that you'd taken me to a video. To a video, to a movie,
Yeah.
so I could understand what Star Wars was about, and I was trying to, explain a little bit in my nail art video on YouTube, and then the comments were just like so upset with me for not understanding Star Wars.
People
universe
care
at
about
all.
Star Wars. YouTube is a dangerous place, you know? People have strong opinions about Star Wars.
Yeah,
Me too to
I'm
some
sorry.
degree. Like, I'm just going to pretend 7, 8, 9 didn't happen. Okay? I'm going to tell you the story of the first 6 instead.
I mean, it sounds like a lot to remember, so I don't blame you.
Okay. So Star Wars takes place in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
That I know because of the text on screen that goes up.
Yeah.
It's like a cinematic effect. I've used it since.
You've used that?
Well, it's a preset in Final Cut Pro.
Is it called Star Wars?
No, they can't do that.
But it's a long time ago, the story.
Sure, before we were
Okay,
born.
I thought you would find that that's interesting. Because it's a futuristic story, but it says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Why do they say that?
I don't know. It's a little...
They're trying to make you think?
Makes you think a little bit. Maybe there's some advanced civilization on the other side of the universe.
Well, they're saying maybe it's year 3000 and they're talking about year 2020, but here we are.
Okay, anyway, Star Wars is about like magic people who fight with laser sticks, basically.
How are they magic?
So there's something called the Force. And there are people who are sensitive to the Force, and that means they're in touch with this sort of energy that exists.
Is it like a fifth sense? Sixth sense? Like
Yeah.
Bruce Willis?
Sure, it's just like the Sixth Sense.
Okay.
But they can like, They can move things with their mind, is maybe the easiest example.
Can they communicate with their mind, like telepathy?
Sure. Let's say they can. Yeah, they can. Okay. But there's the good people who use this ability called the Jedi, and then there's the bad people called the Sith. There's only 2 of them, though, because of the rule of 2.
What's the rule of 2?
But basically, that there can only be 2 bad guys, because, they would just kill each other or something. Yeah, something like that.
Sounds like a dictatorship.
But anyway, there's always balance in the Force, You can't have the balance sway too far in one direction because there's balance in the universe and in the life force of everything. But basically, in the desert somewhere, there's some kid. And his mom's like, I didn't sleep with anybody. This kid just came out of nowhere. He's kind of like a Jesus.
I was going to say, is this a biblical interpretation?
This might be a biblical allegory. So this kid, super sensitive to the Force, even at a very young age.
Is it Luke?
No, it's Anakin.
Anakin.
But you'll see the connection soon. So they find this little kid. The Jedi find him. And they're like, this kid might be the chosen one.
This kid is our kid. They're like, we claim this kid.
We claim this child.
That's kidnapping.
I think his mom's okay with it because he's
but it's
living.
Not his mom.
He's living in misery and squalor. Well, she gave birth to him. There's just no dad.
Something's not adding up. I don't believe it.
Okay,
Someone's not telling the truth.
So Obi-Wan Kenobi takes this kid off this planet, and he's basically like an older brother figure to him.
Is that a robot? Is that the robot?
That's a Jedi Knight played by Ewan McGregor.
I know that actor.
Yeah.
He looks good.
Okay, so this kid is super powerful, and
how old is he?
They start training him as a Jedi. So in the first movie, he's just like a child, like
child
like
labor.
A 10-year-old. Yeah,
it's not okay.
In the second movie, he's getting a bit older, but there's things the Jedi should do, like they're not supposed to have emotion or anger, or have romantic connections. But
this sounds more like a dictatorship.
Well, they're kind of like expected to like live their lives like monks, that they are dedicated to their devotion to the Force.
Right, like soldiers.
Sure, like soldiers. So it's more of like almost like there's a religious kind of element to it.
Like a cult.
Yeah, this is Nixium.
This is not sounding... Wait, you said these are the good guys?
These are the good guys, yeah. Yeah, no, they are good. Okay. Well, I mean, there is some gray area. Okay.
So you're one with the Force?
But Anakin over here is like, hey, like I'm hooking up with this queen.
What queen?
Natalie Portman.
Oh,
can't blame him. And his
Wait,
mom,
how old is he?
Well, in the first movie, he meets Natalie Portman in the first movie as like a child, but then the second movie it's Hayden Christensen. He's like I don't know, like in his 20s, I guess.
How old is Natalie Portman's character?
I guess older, but she looks basically the same. Anyway. Ignore that part.
No, man, you shouldn't ignore these things.
I assume everything's legal in whatever universe they're in.
Yeah, in the filming, but in the
it's pretty strange to meet someone as a child and then have a romantic relationship.
Yeah, sounds like Oedipus Rex, especially if he saw her as a mother figure.
Wow, what a reference. I thought you were gonna go like Woody Allen or something like that, but okay. Where was I? His mom gets killed by these like Tusken Raiders, and he can't control his emotion. He just slaughters them all, which isn't the Jedi way.
Out of revenge.
So what we see is Anakin has a lot of anger within him, some confusion within him. He's not sure. It's not clear if he can really follow the Jedi path. We meet the big bad guy. He's
Vader.
actually like a politician, Darth Sidious.
There's another Darth?
He's the Emperor.
The Emperor's new clothes. Right. New groove.
So the Emperor manipulates him and says, the only way to have the power you need to save the people you love is if you
join the dark side.
Come to the dark side, because that
so
is
predictable.
Because that is more powerful. And there may even be the power on the dark side to bring people back to life, the people you care about. And he gets corrupted, and he kills the children at the Jedi Temple. And who does he turn into, Cristine?
Smeagol. This sounds a lot like Lord of the Rings. He gets corrupted.
Anakin turns in
to Luke. Darth Vader.
Vader.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's interesting.
So this is the end of the prequel trilogy.
Is that why everyone hated the movie at a certain time? I feel like there was a lot of hate because that happened. Or is that later when someone dies?
I have no idea. Okay.
Me neither.
So the original movies start with Luke, a name you kind of knew, right?
Yeah.
Because, okay, so before Anakin turned into Darth Vader, he got
had a
the
son.
queen pregnant with twins. And one of them was Luke.
What was the other one?
You'll find out soon. So Luke is on this planet.
Can't
He
wait.
doesn't know about his dad. He thinks his dad died in the Clone Wars.
No, but his dad is fighting for the evil people now.
Exactly. But we will find
Let
out.
me
We
guess.
don't know that
He's
yet.
traumatized to find out and then questions his identity.
Well, that's the most famous scene, one of the most famous scenes in movie history when he finds out. He trains to be a Jedi. He meets this old man. They're part of the rebellion now trying to fight against the evil forces. And he trains to be a Jedi Master too, with Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi now training the son.
And then he has a crisis of identity, just like the plotline of any other movie.
But yeah, so he's fighting Darth Vader and he goes, Darth, you killed my father.
And then it is his
And he
father.
goes like, no.
That's where I am your father.
Yes. He goes, search your feelings. You know it to be true. I am your father.
I've said that line so many times for random reasons to like Menchie. Like
To Menchie.
I am your father. I've said that in Simply videos. Now
Okay.
I understand.
All right, should I keep going? Or it sounds like you're a little invested. Do you want to watch this? Or
No, like I just want
you just want to know? Okay.
I mean, all of this has been very predictable.
So Darth Vader chops his arm off. Kind of sucks. They need to give him a robot arm. He trains with this little
Why would he
green
cut
dude.
his son's arm off?
Well, they're fighting.
So was it an accident? Workplace injury.
He wants Luke to join him. To join him on the dark
Yeah,
side.
makes sense. It's
and
your
they
son.
could rule the galaxy together. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay.
Sounds a little
But
narcissistic.
Luke is pure. He is trying to follow the Jedi path.
Is that pure?
It is on the side of good. Okay. But anyway, so, they have a chance to fight again in the last movie of the original
Of course,
trilogy.
there's another movie. You need to bring in the money.
It's full of like Ewoks too, which are like
Ewoks?
little furry dudes, kind of look like teddy bears.
Is that the ones who make those annoying noise? No, that's Chewbacca.
Chewbacca is in these movies
What's
too.
Chewbacca?
Oh, so Luke has a sister, by the way.
It's Chewbacca.
It's Princess Leia.
Oh, the girl with the braids.
The bun, the hair bun.
buns,
Yeah,
yeah.
Princess Leia. And he doesn't know. He kisses her in the first movie. And then later you find out she's his sister.
So
They're twins.
there's already quite a few problems here with the romantic relationships in this series. I'm going to pass it off to being old and not understanding how that is harmful.
I wonder if they actually hadn't decided that they were siblings yet when they filmed the first movie. I kind of get the sense that as much as the story seems like it was really well thought out, I think they really were writing the broader story as they were making the first movie.
Or maybe the writer is sick.
Maybe
he's a
maybe
sick
George
guy.
Lucas is just a sick fuck.
Oh my god.
All right, last movie. Luke is
Last
fighting.
movie.
Luke
What number is this?
6. Return of the Jedi. So they're Luke's fighting Darth Vader again, and he's become more powerful by this time.
He knows it's his daddy.
And
You'll slay me, Daddy.
And he's trying to convince his father to come back to the light side. And he beats his father, and the Emperor's watching them fight. And from the Emperor, he just thinks if Luke's more powerful, I just want Luke to join me and be my second-hand man on the dark side. But
Smart.
Luke beats Darth Vader, but says, I won't strike him down. I won't convert to the dark side. So the Emperor's like, well, then I'm going to electrocute you out of my fingertips. And he starts like electrocuting him.
Sounds like a sore loser.
And Darth Vader, seeing his son being killed at the hands of the Emperor, finally has this moment of realization. And he kills the Emperor by throwing him down some
windpipe.
electrical shaft or something.
I think I saw that scene.
You've seen it. It's like a very
Yeah.
famous scene. And so Darth Vader
Okay.
dies.
So
The
they all die?
Emperor blows up in a electrical explosion type thing. And Luke gets off the ship, and they all sort of dance and celebrate on the planet with
I thought
the
Luke
Ewoks.
died.
No.
But the Emperor was killing him.
No, but Darth Vader stepped in. It was
Oh, he
like
saved him.
he saved his son from the Emperor and killed the Emperor.
Daddy saved him.
Okay, Christine, has there been anything I've told you about this movie that makes you want to watch it?
You know, I've heard it all, I think. All of this is just a lesson in, you know, trust and family.
Star Wars is a movie about family.
Well, it's also a movie about bad family, it sounds.
And we're just going to ignore, so when Disney bought the rights to the movies, they threw a bunch of money at George Lucas. He had sort of decided like, hey, I'm older. I actually don't want to go through all the work of making the last 3 movies, 7, 8, and 9.
Wait, how did he know there was 3 more movies if he hadn't made them yet?
He had an idea of a story arc that would take place over 9 movies.
Is this a comic?
No, I'm telling you about a movie. Are you listening to me?
Yeah, but he had an idea based on what? Like, did he have a comic series so like people knew that,
What do you mean
that this
based?
knowledge
Do
existed
you know
to make
people-
into a movie?
You know, people write movies,
Yeah,
scripts.
but how did people? So he had
that are
scripts
original.
written.
He had a treatment of a 9 movie
skin
arc.
treatment?
Are you
just
just messing?
kidding.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I also am struggling with like he didn't have movies to make, but he had scripts for movies to make. So I'm like, which one came
Well,
first?
he didn't have full scripts, but he kind of knew a story that could be told in 9 parts,
Okay.
right? That's why like the prequels I told you about first actually came out like 30 years after episode 4, 5, and 6. And then Disney just very recently released 7, 8, and 9. But it's really controversial because a lot of people really don't like those last 3
Are
movies.
they all like PG or something because they're Disney?
I guess the original...
Are they animated?
They're not less dark than the originals, really. They're not animated. There isn't Mickey Mouse in them or anything like that. But they were just... It's actually an amazing... They will teach this in film school, I'm sure of it, as how not to, like plan a movie franchise. Because they clearly didn't know what they were going to do with the 3 movies. They gave it to one filmmaker and one scriptwriter, the first one. Then they gave it to the second one to a completely different person who took it in a completely different direction. And then in the third one, they didn't like what the person who did the middle one did. So they basically sort of explained away and undid a lot of the stuff in the middle one. Basically, Disney really messed up and screwed up the most recent 3 movies, to the point a lot of like hardcore Star Wars fans are like furious and refuse to accept them as canon.
I remember reading in the news, wasn't the argument that Disney basically made those 3 movies because they'd already bought the rights to that franchise, so they needed to make their money back?
Well, I mean, they paid what they paid for it because they thought they could
They'd
make
make
money
movies,
off of
right.
it. And of course, they were always planning on making those movies. I think what the surprise was is George Lucas had an outline of a story of what those 3 movies could be.
And they didn't use
they
his?
bought it from him.
Oh.
It was included in the purchase, and they were like, "No, thanks."
Why?
And they just decided to do what they wanted to do.
Why?
I mean, there was no one forcing them to use his story.
I never, sure, but like, why wouldn't they trust the creator of this entire series, who has clearly a big fan base?
It's a great example of how to screw up a franchise, which is in distinction to like the Marvel franchise, that most people agree was like very well thought out. Like they're kind of dumb superhero movies in a lot of ways, but they released like 12 Marvel Avenger movies in that universe, and they all sort of culminated and worked together in one direction and had a very natural conclusion.
Is anyone mad at George Lucas for selling the rights?
I think people are more angry at Disney than they're mad at
Disney
George
for
Lucas.
ruining it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Even to
I
the point-
apologize if I like. I find this part really interesting.
Oh, you're
though.
more interested in this?
Well, like the trademark of it, and just the idea of like selling the likeness
The
of
ownership
the
of the
series,
IP,
and George
yeah.
Lucas, who the creator was, who clearly had a vision for this, and then someone else ruining it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could be accused of being a sellout because he just took the money instead of,
But he did
retaining
that
the ownership.
after so long, right? He retained ownership for a really long time while the franchise was incredibly successful.
Yeah.
It's not like he sold it at the first offer, I'm sure. I'm sure he had many offers before.
Yeah, I think he said that like he's getting old, he has a kid.
Yeah.
He wants to spend like the end of his
He
life
has a kid.
not
He
working
wants to be on the good
movies all day.
side. Train his kid to be a Jedi. He's busy.
And you could argue that like Disney is seeing this as an investment more than maybe people who really care
Why?
about
How
the
many
story.
more movies are they gonna ruin?
Well, here's the thing. So they've released a bunch of other like movies within the Star Wars universe. So it's not just like the main storyline.
Like what?
They're releasing like a spin-off movie about Han Solo, and now they have like Disney Plus where they have a series about Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. So they're Baby Yoda. So they're trying to make their money back. They turned one of their amusement parks, like a section of it, into like Star Wars World, right? So they're gonna make their money back eventually, but they did it while like sort of destroying the end of a storyline.
Does Princess Leia get her own series?
Oh, that was kind of a...
We need more women representation.
So they brought back the original actors from the original series for these sequel trilogies. They were just much older. And she sadly passed away while they were filming the new movies, which actually posed a lot of problems for like how they were trying to wrap up that story.